What up? Welcome to Homegrown Hustle, where local brilliance takes the center stage. I'm your host, Matt Eichmann. Together, we're about to embark on an inspiring journey. Our community thrives on the wisdom of insightful leaders that are right here in our backyard. And we're bringing their expertise to your ears. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is your guide. Join us every week in celebrating innovation, guidance, and the power to inspire greatness. Let's explore the stories that shape our local business landscape, and together, let's ignite the spark of excellence. What's up, hustlers? I got a super special episode of the podcast here for you. One of my favorite people in the world and a great partner for us over at Abracadabra. I've got the founder and CEO of Princess Party Pals here, Nicole Fenstad. Thank you so much for joining us. She's been in business bringing magic to birthdays and corporate events for almost 20 years now, right?
That's right.
So background in theater, kind of transformed into running your own business, which is a super unique journey into business that I'm really excited to talk about. So thanks again for joining us. Real quick, do you want to kind of introduce yourself to everybody, talk a little bit about your business, and we can dive into all the fun stuff and characters?
You bet. So I run a children's entertainment company called Princess Party Pals. We were founded in 2006. My background is in theater, and I lived in New York for almost 8 years doing theater. And through a roundabout, I eventually started this business when I moved from New York to Minneapolis in 2006. It's kind of a crazy long story, but the short end of it was back in 1998, I was doing the musical Grease in Brazil. And I met a girl whose mom ran a princess party business in Washington, D.C. So that's where this whole idea of kids entertainment started for me. When we got off our tour, she would hire us to come down from New York and help her with princess parties. So I just got to see how crazed the kids were when Princess Paula would come to the events, and she would be a fairy godmother and sprinkle the kids with pixie dust and play games and play with a parachute and do some theatrical acting and story times with them. And it was just, I never stopped thinking about it. So then back in 2005, I was doing a show in Blowing Rock, North Carolina, and I happened to be in a Kmart store randomly. I walked down a toy store, a toy aisle, and I saw all these Cinderella costumes. This was in July, so they were all like 75% off. And that memory, that core memory back in 1998 came back to me like 8 years later, and I thought, I'm going to start a princess party business. So I had just left New York, and I bought as many little Cinderella costumes as I could find, called up some friends, and I said, hey, can I practice doing princess parties on your nieces and nephews?
Let me practice on your kids.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically kind of how it started. I started doing theater. The reason that brought me back to Minneapolis was I wanted to continue doing theater. So I worked at Chanhassen Dinner Theater in the Ordway, doing professional theater for about 5 years, and then starting this business on the side. And
was anybody else starting a business on the side in that circle?
Not that I really knew of. It was kind of its own little niche. And it took me about 5 years to really dig into it to see that it was going to sustain itself. The turning point for me to see that I could really go somewhere was that I did an event for a mom that ran an internet marketing company called Plum District. No idea if it's still around, but it was a marketing company much like a Groupon type of thing. So they would sell products in bulk at a discounted price for their demographic. And this so-called demographic was all moms. So they had like 15 or 20,000 subscribers. And the mom that I did the party for said, hey, would you ever be interested in selling your parties in bulk at a discounted price for your perfect demographic? And at this point, I think
that's a good sales pitch.
It was really good. Yeah. I think I'd done about maybe 40 or 50 in the past 5 years, like maybe 10 or 11 a year. So I was nothing to lose. So I just said, sure. And so I put a package together, and then of course it's marketed to their subscribers as a discounted package. And then we could sell them in bulk. And within the first 4 hours, I had sold 50 parties, like more than I'd ever done.
Wow. Was there like a, oh crap moment?
Well,
there?
It's like, now I got to do them all. Right.
But I love that because that in business, you kind of like took a leap there, right? And,
for sure.
And you like doubled what you had done in 5 years, which is amazing. So I want to circle back a little bit. So you came back to Minneapolis with the intent to stay in theater.
Correct.
Because Minneapolis, St. Paul is really well known for that, right? Especially within the theater business. I feel like it's weird to think about it like that, but the business of theater, obviously there has to be money somewhere, otherwise it doesn't happen. Talk a little bit about the local scene and why this was the place that you came to from New York. I think New York, everyone kind of sees that like on Broadway and all that stuff, but
so per capita, this is the second biggest theater community in the United States. Minneapolis is. So more theaters per capita, than any other place. I think even more so than Chicago. Like I said, it's per capita. So, and I grew up in Fargo. So we would always come down to the Twin Cities and go to Chanhassen Dinner Theater. I grew up going to it, just like kind of dreaming of what it would be like to be on stage there. So it was always like, someday I would like to go back there and work at that theater. And ironically, the first show that I auditioned for was Grease, the one that I had done, back in 1998, where I had this idea. So I auditioned and I got in. I played Frenchie, one of the pink ladies in the show. But there's just a really robust community here of theater. Lots of professional and really strong non-professional theater as well. Just a lot of really good talent here. So my idea was that I would just continue to work in theater and then I could do this. Like everyone typically has a side job because it's hard to make a living just being an actor. So I thought Princess Party Pals would be a fun side job to do, not knowing that it would be one day become my, full-time job.
So what's the business of theater like then? I mean, on a podcast about business, I feel like we got to talk about that a little bit. I get like ticket sales and all that, but like, what's going on behind the curtain?
Behind the curtain for theater? I mean, do you mean like, is it hard to get jobs in theater here?
I guess like jobs and maybe like how theater house, I don't know if that's the right term, but how that side of it operates, because they have to stay open in order for the plays to ever even take place, right?
Yeah. Well, Chanhassen Theater has been around for a very long time. I think over 50 some years. So that is just a staple of the community. I don't particularly know the backsides. I mean, I know the theaters rely on sponsorships. They rely on the community support. There have been theaters, particularly with COVID, of course, that have gone under. But they do rely a lot on community support, and they have that here in Minneapolis for sure.
You might not know this, but a lot of them like nonprofits then, or are they like, because I know a couple for sure that are nonprofits and they've got like some education kind of woven into it, which I think is pretty cool. But like St. Paul, what's
the Ordway?
Yeah, we were just talking about it. The Ordway Theater, like that one.
I don't know offhand if that's
we'll have to research on that regardless.
Yeah.
So what about like jobs then? If this is an area where there's good theater and there's a lot of actors and actresses, is it easy to get people to come?
Well, like anything else, yes, you have to be talented, but you do develop relationships with other directors, with other choreographers, with other voice teachers and stuff. So it's important to plug yourself into the community, to get involved, to take classes, to audition a lot, to be seen. So yes, like you can break in, like I was lucky enough to break in, but there are theaters that sometimes like to use a lot of the same people, which is great if you're one of those same people as well, right?
Otherwise it's not.
Right. Otherwise it's not. But like anything else, it's definitely relationship based.
So now is it that you're tapping into kind of that labor market within your own business? Because it's more than just you. You've got lots of princesses. I think you got a prince out there too.
I do, so
we're diversifying. I love it. You're pulling from that community or is it people that were already within your circle? Or tell me a little bit about that.
A little bit of both. So because I had worked in the community a lot, I knew a lot of other actors. So there's nothing that brings me more joy than be able to hire people and my friends and colleagues that are actors and bring them into the business as well. But I've held auditions. I've held 3 different auditions to search for talent and have them audition. And, you know, everyone has to be able to sing. Everyone has to be able to be a good actor. And probably most important, you have to be really good with kids. Yes. So I always make everyone read a story. I brought my nephews to one of my auditions. And so they would read a story to my nephews. And
so it went from, so that's like the test or the sample size there, because that's who you started with, right?
Right.
And now you're bringing them in to vet that's smart. I kind of like that. So, all right. So let's get to like that first birthday party that you did on your nephews. What did you learn in that? I
learned that you have to have a toolbox of lots of activities, because depending upon how old they are, their attention span can be really quick or they can be really engaged. So I try to arm my team with a lot of different activities to do. If something is bombing, then to move on to the next thing. So that's
because how much time are you like at a birthday or a corporate event for? Is it like 2 hours, 90 minutes? Like where are we at?
A birthday party is typically 90 minutes.
Okay.
But we have about 6 different activities that we do during that time to keep things moving. So we do face painting. We do a story time. So the princess will tell the story. She may sing songs. She may do a dance from it. And then we have kind of the magical part of a dress up and coronation ceremony. So we bring this really big trunk that's filled with costumes and accessories for kids to put on. They can be fairy wings, pirate vests and patches and magic wands and crowns. So anyone can, if a girl wants to dress up as a pirate, awesome. A boy wants to put on wings, cool. Nobody cares. It's just your time to feel magical and to feel enchanted like royalty. And then we roll out a red carpet and everyone gets to walk down the carpet or fly down the carpet or slay dragons or do whatever they want to do to just kind of feel royal. So everyone's all dressed up for it. We don't bring actual dresses or costumes to wear because everyone's different sizes. It's kind of hard to do that, but it's just accessories to put on. We also find that most kids have a princess dress at home, many. And so an opportunity for them to put it on is like Halloween, yay.
My daughter comes down the stairs half the days with like a big princess.
Yes. So, to be able to go to their friend's house in their princess dress is super magical.
So you're really, because I'm thinking like customer experience. So parents really the customer, but this whole thing is the experience. So you're really selling that experience. And when I think about it, that's what most businesses do, but this is like the most real setting there. So can you talk a little bit about how you think about selling an experience, especially when it's something that's so emotional for everybody involved and you're selling. So you got to make money on that somehow. Otherwise this doesn't perpetuate. So when you're going into that, like, how do you sell it?
So we're pretty detailed when we explain what happens, but most of our customers come from other parties where the parent has watched their child be the guest of another little girl. So they get to watch the experience through their eyes of their child. That's the best way to sell my business, is for you to come to an event, to see what we do, to see and feel how we make you feel and also your child feel as well, because, you know, we get to bring...
It's so much magic. And also you just command attention of all these children that it's really hard to get them to focus on anything sometimes. I mean, I've seen you at the Princess in the Park events that we do to give back to the community. And we're talking a couple hundred kids. We got blankets out everywhere. And when you show up, like, they're like waiting at the parking lot for you. Of course, in their gown, whatever character it is, and you just own it right from the beginning, and also like create the energy within that group. So I don't know how you do it. I think it's more than just the dress, but now you're actually scaling that, which is a really interesting thing to think about. So as you've gone into, okay, now I need to delegate over here and get more people, more princesses out there. How are you scaling that concept? Obviously we get leads coming in, but now you need somebody to go out and deliver that same type of experience.
Well, I've luckily had My team, I've had many people that have been in my team for the past 7 years. So that's been really helpful. So they are extensions of how I've trained them, but they're also amazing people and they bring their own twist to everything as well. So I think the first part in scaling is just hiring good people for
100%.
sure. So like finding the right people to be the face of your brand is so important. I travel a lot more now these days, and I feel so comfortable and confident in leaving the parties in my team's hands. And that actually, as an owner, feels so good after 19 years to be able to trust other people. Yeah. I mean, I think that helps us grow. And I've been dabbling in other markets. I have feelers out in Texas for places, for different events that I've been doing out there now too. So
this is like a real business. Like this is scalable and you're doing it, which is super cool. I didn't know you were thinking about going to other markets, though. That's pretty exciting.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? What kind of
Well, I have a boyfriend in Texas, so that we've been dating a year. And so I have been putting feelers out, but it's so interesting now to be starting over like 19 years later in a new market. And I have to kind of tap back into, I was like, okay, how did you start out again? Because now it really kind of runs itself here. And just the number of events we do, we don't have to do a ton of marketing to get other business and other birthday parties. It sells itself, which is great. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go back to doing a few free marketing things. Like I'll do some free story times, or one of my favorite quotes is to bloom where you're planted. So I'm like, where are you planted right now? And I'm like, okay, well,
there's kids here.
There's kids here. Exactly. And I'm like, oh, I started going to the gym, Lifetime Fitness Gym, actually, is where I belong here. And so I started to go there in Austin is where I've been going. And one day I just start talking to the general manager, and I told him what I did. And I said, hey, would you guys ever be interested in like having like a free kid event here? I'd love to do it for you. Just as like, I'd love to get into the community and meet more people. And so the last 2 times I've been there, I've done an event for them, and that's been awesome. And then it starts to be like, hey, you know, they want to compensate me for that, which is nice. So,
that's different than how you kind of entered the market here though, right?
I did a lot of free story times when I first started here, for sure. Yep. At church, at gyms, at malls, at different things. I would do a lot of free things just to get the word out.
So what does that do for that business when you...
Well, I'm going to tell you a story. Here's what it does. The other day I was doing a princess story time, and we were kind of out in the hallway at Lifetime, and there was a bunch of kids sitting down, and I was singing a song, and I heard one of the members walk by and said, I love this gym. And I was like... And
I made the right decision.
And it wasn't even like she was a mom. She was just like going to pickleball and like, I just love this gym. Exactly.
Having a great experience.
Yeah. And like,
and that leaves people with their feels. Like it really does. Like from the first time I heard you give your commercial at BNI, I was like, we got to figure something out here. Cause I knew instantly, like at that point, I think I was about to have my 3rd child, and just the imagination and how they're in a totally different world. And that character, I knew like we can make an impact more than just a transaction for the business. And that's what I really love about the Storytime that we've been able to develop, is the magic in their eyes. Like it's got to do something within the ether in July when we do it. 'Cause Wayzata is just full of princesses. It's probably the highest princess per capita place in the country. I think you're right. Maybe there's some places in different areas that have more princesses, but definitely the Midwest.
For sure.
So does that ever get draining to have to do that? Like as a job, like bring that much energy? And
for the most part, I love it. Like it does feed me. It does energize me, but I'm also human. So yes, of course, there are times I'm like, okay, I just did 3 or 4 parties on a weekend. I'm ready to crash. I
barely even want to go to one birthday party on the weekend. But probably in that scenario, like for the parent, you're making that party easier because now you don't have to do the entertaining. You can clean the dishes or cut the cake or whatever the heck you got to do.
Or just watch the experience and just feel so happy that they got to give their son or daughter that magical experience.
So in Austin now, so you go to Lifetime. change their world. Is that become like a staple then for them, or what's the relationship look like after kind of that first interaction with the business that you've had?
Mm-hmm. Well, they said, anytime you want to do an event, just let us know. So that's pretty neat. And I go back there every 6 to 8 weeks. So I'll be going back again in May, and we're going to do another event in May. So, I mean, we'll see. It might not last forever, but it's certainly going to help me. It's new to them. You know, I used to do a lot of events for Lifetime here too, and things just changed at COVID. So I haven't done as many anymore. But this is like a totally new thing for them. So it's super exciting.
So is like the consumer any different down there? Have you noticed?
No.
Like
that's what's so cool.
Magic is magic for kids.
Magic is magic. Everyone shows up in a costume. Everyone wants a hug or high five or a picture. And my parents are snowbirds in Arizona, and I did a couple preschool events just as like a fun little freebie thing for them to kind of plant some seeds there as well. And I just came back and said to my dad, I'm like, everyone loves princesses. Yeah. It does not matter where you go.
If you don't like princesses, there's something
that's right
wrong with you.
Yeah, everyone loves it.
Or that's like a villain story.
Right.
Somewhere in the making.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk a little bit more about like the events themselves. You do a lot of birthdays. Like, is that kind of the majority of your business? And then the traveling you're doing is kind of those preschool or corporate settings?
So I like to break down the business into 3 different categories. We do birthday parties, which is probably about 2/3 of what we do. Then we do preschool enrichment. So we will take our characters and we will go to schools. And so we do about 70 different characters. So it's not just princesses, it's not just superheroes, but we may take storybook characters or fairy tales like Goldilocks, or we'll take a ladybug, or I make up a lot of characters too. So I have a park ranger that I made up that does dinosaur adventures, Park Ranger Rachel.
You can just create.
And that's what I love to do. I'm an actor at my heart, and I'm creative. So I love to create new characters and new stories and put lesson plans together. So we always do some sort of theatrical story time. And then we'll use music, we'll use song, we'll use movement, especially for preschools or kindergartens. We like to use social emotional learning, things that can help create better little people and more in control of their emotions.
And are you working like within curriculum with that type of stuff? Like, are you getting to that level with the early childhood educators?
I have not particularly worked with curriculum in a sense, but certainly with the social and emotional learning activities that we can do with them. So SEL.
You're coming in, I'm just picturing like you're coming into a gym and the whole school's there, or is it smaller settings than that?
I prefer smaller settings because we cater our enrichment to age groups. So I will go into as young as like 18 months to 2-year-olds. So that's going to be completely different than a 4 or 5-year-old. That is more sensory, more like props, touching, color. You know, I can read a very basic story to them. They love music. I do a lot of music with them, rhythms, movement. And then my older kids, I can do, more games. I can do more questions. We can talk about emotions a little bit more. So we cater it to whatever age group we have.
Are there kind of like some barriers that are broke down to make some of those conversations easier for those a little bit older
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so because we might use a story like Little Red Riding Hood and be able to talk about the choices that Little Red Riding Hood make, like, stranger danger, and should we go with the big bad wolf? And if we're feeling like there's something that might be wrong, should we listen to that part inside ourselves? So, and that's my favorite thing. I love to be able to teach a little bit more. And down the road, I'm moving toward the direction of moving towards kindergarten through 3rd and 4th grade to do more of that social emotional learning in older kids, because that is such a feel good when I can feel
and they
like
can start like remembering stuff, because those early years, there's a lot going on, a lot of things they're trying to figure out. And I mean, my son Malachi, he's a 2nd grader right now, and he's kind of he's processing differently and on a deeper level. So that's interesting, that evolution that you got planned. So when you're coming in, like, what is it that, I don't know, who's the decision maker? Is it like at
the schools?
Yeah.
Probably the principals.
The principal. So the principal wants you to come in to accomplish what for their students?
Well, there's a lot of grant money for this type of thing.
Okay.
So it would be to do kind of like enrichment, or they might call it like an indoor field trip, like social emotional learning field trip. So as long as you are touching on those milestones and those touchstones of emotion, how to handle emotion, reactions, how to work with other individuals, whether it's your friends or parents, and methods to deal with our emotions. Are we able to control our bodies, to calm ourselves down? So kind of those methods to control ourselves as well. So those things are super important. And a lot of people want to bring those types of things in. And when you come in as a costume character, it's just something different than a teacher teaching you about those things. But when you come in a costume, in a wig, as a character, that's fun. Maybe bringing some music to it. There's a different kind of remembering and impact it has.
Oh yeah. Like talk about for a couple days or weeks type of thing. I mean, I know my kids do during the summer, like it's an ongoing conversation. So that part, the grant money is kind of interesting to me because there's like, obviously at a higher level, we see that experiences and emotions are important. And we're trying to bring that, at least locally in Minnesota, to our children so they can start that process of developing. How did that come about for you? Is that something you pursued and like pioneered, or was it another casting of Grease or something like that prompted?
So this came about during COVID, actually.
Okay.
So my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Bomminger, shout out to Mrs. Bomminger. Hey,
please.
She reached out to me and said her daughter works out in a school in North Dakota that had some grant money for different types of social emotional learning programs. And they had some extra money. And she had said to her mom, which is Mrs. Bomminger, I have this extra money and I would love to bring a program in. And Mrs. Bomminger said, hire Nicole. She can do it. And
she had the vision.
She did. No, she was amazing. And so she helped train me for this. So we worked together a lot in putting together programs. But most of our programming was all online because it was during COVID. So
I can only imagine all the changes teachers are going through at that time.
So then we would do our programs like maybe one every other month throughout the school year as a different character. I mean, everything from like, we had a pirate that came in. We had a superhero, Mary Poppins, just a bunch of different characters that would teach their lesson. And we would like literally put kind of lesson plans together in PowerPoint presentations. And I had to learn so much tech stuff.
This was all virtual,
This was all virtual, right? Yep. Green screens, like the whole 9 yards. And so once COVID was over, then they started having me come in person. So I came out a couple times a year to do those programs in person. And I mean, I loved that. I mean, just that impact in person was so much more meaningful to see them.
Lead source too, I would think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So, and now that's kind of become part of your business. Like it's one of the legs that you.
That school part.
Thanks COVID. That's one of the.
I know, exactly.
One of the good things that came out of COVID. It's not all bad.
It did. It's a part I need to nourish a little bit more. And I'm hoping as I'm delegating that I'm going to have time to nourish that a little bit more and work on it. Because I've only done, I think I did one school here and I've done a couple of schools in North Dakota. So that's kind of where I'm going. But my programs are done. Like I made I have 3 years worth of programs that I can do. So that's pretty fun.
3 years.
Like about 8 programs a year that I can do.
So like preschools, daycares.
This would be for like kindergarten through 3rd or 4th grade that I would do for them.
I know some people over at Minnetonka that we can.
Okay.
They're gonna be listening to this, so they'll probably reach out to you. But I'll talk to them for you for sure. Okay. So you've built now like a community. You've worked in hospitals, schools. You got all these businesses. Was like if you could reverse and go back to 2006? Like, what would you have done differently in your business after 19 years of learning everything that you're doing? What would you have done differently? I'm
not sure, to be honest, that I would have done anything different. I took the opportunities that came right in front of me and I was brave enough to just go for it, or we'll just say naive enough to go for it. I know when you're younger, you can be blissfully naive about things. when I look back, I think, oh, that costume wasn't very great or that wig wasn't great. But I'm just so proud of myself that I bloomed where I was planted. Like that's what I could afford. And I still gave like a great product. And now, you know, I have enough money to be able to invest in the costumes and the wigs that I feel really proud of. But, you know, if I waited for that time, I would have waited forever. And I'm so glad I didn't wait for that time. I just did it. I went for it and I really wouldn't change anything.
That's awesome. So where do you see Princess Party Pals going in like the next 5 to 10 years? I
would say I'm going to be out of the business more, but delegating, and the types of things that I really want to do are creating the educational programs that I want to be doing and creating like the corporate special events. I really like to create those events, whether it's an etiquette class with Alice or Mary Poppins, or it's a corporate event with a big story time, or maybe we're doing part of a production. We did a big event at Maplewood Mall not that long ago where we had 8 princesses out there, and we're doing some at Eden Prairie coming up. We're doing like a big puppy adventure on May 10th. And then Wicked's been a big thing. So we're doing a big Wicked event at the mall as well.
Where can people like find these events?
Well, you can find them on our website or really our social media. So Princess Party Pals on Instagram or Facebook would be a great place to find that stuff because we do market things on there as well.
So, all right, let's talk about the mall. So you had 8 princesses.
We did.
Tell me a little bit about planning for an event like that and like what you brought to the table for that.
So I will preface, it was 7 princesses and 1 prince, right? You got to have the prince in there as well. And this was an event that they weren't sure how it was going to go. I mean, they thought it would be pretty big, but it really just blew out of the water.
Built around the princesses?
Yeah, it was built.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it was just like a basically Maplewood Mall princess party. So we had over 1,000 kids that showed up to it. And the
just
first
on a random day,
random Sunday from 11 to
like
3.
An Easter thing or
nope, just Princess Party Day. But they have a big following. I mean, they have over 31,000 followers on their Instagram, so they are really doing stuff well.
And at least 1,000 children.
Yeah, came by.
So I'm thinking for that day, it was probably pretty packed there, I would assume, because those kids aren't
absolutely
hitchhiking
packed
up there. So parents are there buying everything. So for all the businesses that are there, that drive sales up just because you're out in the hallway.
Yeah, I mean,
wild.
Food court, huge. The carousel there, huge. All the fun Build-A-Bear places. Yep. Those things. I think those guys killed it that day.
And like within the networking I've been doing, there's a lot of conversations around like malls and making sure that the businesses that are there can stay there and they don't just go to straight like the e platform and just go online or Amazon or whatever. And that type of stuff grabs people's attentions and makes them want to go to the mall for a reason that's different than purchasing.
Yeah.
So it's like they're piggybacking, hey, we need to support these businesses off of, we know people care about this and it's going to grab attention. And that is absolutely genius. I know when we started our give back with the Princess in the Park in YZ, what was that? Was that 2 years ago now?
2 years ago, yeah.
I didn't realize like what it would do for the growth side of the business. I just knew it would make kids really happy. And there's a bunch of stay-at-home moms in that area that don't know what to do with kids every day of the summer when they want to go out and do something. So I was trying to fill that void, but we've gotten a lot of business from it because of that same type of concept where it brings awareness to you and your business because you're connecting on a very emotional level with your consumer because there's nothing in the world they care about more than their kids.
I did a party last summer for someone that was at the event and they said, hey, I just want to let you know, we had a bug problem and we called Abracadabra. I was like, awesome. That's fantastic. They're like, you know, we're so happy that they brought the princesses to the park and we just wanted to support them. I was like, I love that.
And that's like added benefit.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I feel like if we didn't do it, I'd get in trouble. People would be like really upset because there's, I mean, hundreds of kids that are out there And for the community, it brings everybody kind of together, especially coming out of COVID. Everyone's kind of dispersed. That community, like that's what people are looking for. And when there's other people in your community that also have young children, now you can meet other people and share an amazing experience. So those like story time in the park that you put on, it does a lot for those communities, and it really impacts a lot of lives. It makes a lot of kids crazy happy without any sugar. Like
that's right.
Yeah, like that doesn't have to be a prerequisite, because you can bring the magic in a lot of different ways. And now for this year, we've got a couple new characters that we have planned, right?
I think we do. I'll have to check the schedule.
Because the character selection is part of your ongoing business evolution, right?
Right.
Every time, do people just ask and you're like, sure, I can do that? Or like, what's...
Yeah, when I first started, I only did one, right? I just did Cinderella, and then they said, hey, can you do Snow White? And I say yes and then figure it out later. I'm like, I can do that. And now I can say yes to pretty much anything, and I have a format for what I do with the parties, and so I can customize that.
It and all
basically, yeah. Ways. I had a mom that said, my daughter loves horses. Can you come as a jockey? Yep, sure. Can I come as a jockey? Yes. That's fun. We had a horse party. And at first I thought, did you want me to come as a horse? She's like, no, come as a jockey. So I got a jockey costume, and
Less excited about the horse character?
I guess. Probably harder to do a party in a horse costume, I'm guessing.
That would be a hard no if I was in your shoes.
But we did face painting. We face painted horses, and then she had a favorite horse story that I got, and we shared, and then we did a fun horse craft and some other horse games. So I can kind of customize it, whether it's face painting or tattoos or makeup. If we're doing a rock star party or a Barbie party, like we customize it to that theme.
And I'm not a big birthday party planner myself, but there's usually a theme for these birthdays. And then the character kind of comes as part of that. So with a new character, like, you pretty much have a new sales offering, right? So how do you measure success for that? Like when you think about it in your business owner pants or dress, whatever you want to be wearing in this imagination, how do you look at that and say, yep, I'm going to do this again? Or like, what's the KPI?
So first of all, I have to figure out how much it's going to cost to create the character. So that's going to be, we just recently created Glinda and Elphaba from Wicked. So I had to price out, the dress and the wig and the props for it, and then figuring out the activities for it. So, every costume, if it's a princess one, it can range from $500 to $1,500 depending upon the dress. And then the wig is typically, I would say a wig is between $300 and $400 to have.
But once you have it, you kind of have it, right?
There's maintenance.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Matt, there's maintenance. Okay.
Gotcha.
The biggest maintenance is wig maintenance, because that is
wig tune-ups happening.
Oh, there are after every party. I will do it. And then eventually after like maybe 10, 11 times, I'm like, okay, we need to send this to our wig person. So I have local people in local theaters.
Person? That's a thing?
Matt, of course I have a wig person. Yes, I do. I have a wig person. Now, sadly, right now, she's out on tour because she does the wigs.
She's a touring wig person.
She does the wigs.
This business and this industry is so interesting to me.
But it's not for princess parties. She does it for Broadway national tours.
You got to find the niches,
Yeah,
right?
I know, I do. So I am actually on the hunt. Hello, shout out to a wig person in the Twin Cities. I'm on the hunt for a wig person to help me do some restyling for the wigs, to do the maintenance on them, because it's a lot.
So, all right. So you have this initial investment, and originally you would think, okay, I can get this for myself. But now you're to the point where you're scaling your business. So those numbers probably matter even more, because now we're saying times 10 or times 9 if you're going to have everybody have their own, because that's a uniform at that point, right?
Yeah. And everybody doesn't have their own costume. So that's the other challenge when you're casting. You have to, the costumes are made so that they can fit many, I'm not going to say many different sizes, but, a range of size.
So not everybody can do every character.
That's true. Most of my girls can do every character, though. Most of them are about the same size. So I kind of look for someone that is around my size, give or take a little bit. And then we can customize it. Like sometimes I might have a skirt that I might have to take in. So I might have two different skirts for someone, or I might have two different bodices for another.
Does that ever become like a logistical bottleneck for your business with any of the more popular princesses?
I mean, I have doubles and triples of a lot of things. So I have to.
I would assume if you get to the point where you have 3 booked on a day and somebody asks for it, you're like, okay, well, maybe I got to get another one of these. Because it could be a bottleneck, probably not, but just hire more people and show them the menu of princesses.
Exactly. Or we'll just say that princess is not available at that time slot or on that day, and they may have to choose a different day. Like the most I have ever done is one of the Snow Sisters, and I can book 3 of those at the same time.
And that is an absolute slam dunk for any young girl. And honestly, my son gets pretty engaged with that too. What is it about that those characters there? Like, because when that movie came out, we're talking Anna and Elsa and whatever
Olaf,
the heck the freaking caribou's name is, and we got all the stuff. Why is that kind of this lingering popular story?
I find that boys and girls like that. I have booked quite a few boy parties for Frozen parties. I actually have. I think it's because everyone loves the snowman. Everyone loves the...
You guys have an Olaf outfit?
We do have a mascot Olaf. Yes, we do. We do. We don't have many. We only have one mascot, and that's the only mascot we have. I'm not a big fan of mascots because all they can do is like take pictures with them. Like I believe in being interactive and being able to talk and sing. So, but we do have that one.
Because I feel like a kid sees a mascot, they're like, that guy's there's something off about that guy. But
they're really little
character,
ones. Yeah.
now you're real until somebody messes it up and tells them that you're not.
Right.
Or my daughter saw that it was the same person behind the mask the second Storytime. Yep. But I've pulled the wool back over her eyes there. Because that's like the magic disappearing almost, because they are so innocent and precious, and you bring imagination into real life in your business, and you create the scene and setting, and now they're part of it. Because that's where they live, really, is in this like imaginative reality. And then us adults are kind of looking like we've got all the other things we're thinking about, and we forget about that. So
it's good reminders, right? Like you get to be like, oh yeah, like this is super magical to them, and you get to experience that through their eyes.
So within the local princess market, what are, like when people reach out to you for a birthday, like what are they really looking for? Because I've never thought about the process of selecting a princess vendor. What's that look like? What's that?
Well, talking to my clients, I think what I have found to be the most important thing is quality, meaning that you have the characters look like what their kid thinks that Cinderella or Snow White or Belle might look like, right? So it's quality, like having really good costumes. It is having a good actor that can make that character come to life. I think they are looking for someone that knows how to manage kids. And I'm so proud of my team because some of them are teachers, and you can tell like they're amazing with kids. And you can sometimes have that kid that tries to hijack the party, and my team is just exceptional. Yeah, I mean, you redirect, you reframe, you sometimes eventually might have to get an adult involved.
There's an escalation process.
There is, but it's also de-escalating too. It's ignoring, it's reframing. Like, there's lots of things that we try to do, but ignoring, I'm going to say ignoring a lot. Yep. Ignoring.
Don't give them what they're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And just to remember like why I'm here. I'm here to make this experience for this little girl, this little boy, the best it can. And I may have to intervene if this child is hijacking it for everyone else, so that we just it's like what a teacher has to do sometimes, right? So they're so good at managing that. So I think those things are really important. And I'm really proud of the flow of our birthday party. Like we have segments, but we're really good at connecting them and not like, okay, face painting is over.
It has to flow.
But like everything flows really nice.
Transitions are where kids...
Like you think about a comedian and stuff, like what makes a good comedian? It's like how they transition between each joke, and like that's important. So like we have scripts for everything that we do. We have scripts for our story times, scripts for the flow of the party that everyone has been, trained on as well. So people comment that like the flow of the party was so great and we're really good at watching time. We honor people's time in that 90 minutes. And I'm proud of our customer service and our follow-up and our communication with the client. And here's kind of our like the little thing that we try to do is we try to remember everyone's name.
Yeah, which is impressive.
We really work on that. And when I first started training my girls, and boy, they would say, I'm never going to be able to do that. And now they all do that. Like,
what's the process to train that? I feel like that's a good life skill.
Yes. Isn't it a good life skill?
Yeah.
Like remember people's names. It makes them feel so special. So the trick for us, I find, is that the first activity we do is face painting. It's a one-on-one activity. So we get to have that one-on-one time, like maybe 2 minutes with each kid. So when they come in, we ask them their name. What would you like? And they might say, oh, hi, what's your name? And you'll say,
Matthew.
Hi, Matthew. Matthew, what do you want to put on your cheek today? We have this beautiful board right here. Would you like a dinosaur? Would you like balloons? What would you like?
I could go with dinosaur.
A dinosaur. Matthew, what kind of dinosaur do you want? What color? What's your favorite color?
Purple T-Rex.
Purple T-Rex. And then should we put scales on it? Like it's a stegosaurus?
Yep.
Okay. So we just try to use their names a lot. And then I'll say like, do you like it, Matthew? It's so cute, right? And then I'll ask them questions, but I try to repeat the name a lot when I'm done. And then from there, we go into our story time. So before we start stories.
That was great sales training, by the way.
You just say it as much as you can.
No, it works.
Or you find something like, okay, Matthew's wearing black. Black reminds me of mud. Mud starts with M. You know what I mean? Like, you can do something like that too, like a mnemonic device. Just remember, like in psychology class, from learning those things. But that's helped us. I think that helps us become more personal with the parties. And people comment on it all the time that I can't believe you remembered everyone's name. I'm terrible at names. And I just make sure I tell my girls, don't ever say you're terrible at that, because then you will be. I'm like, just say you're great at it. You're great at remembering names. I'm great at remembering names.
And eventually they become that, especially when it's part of the playbook. So now they're, but when you do that, you're really bringing them into that experience in that setting by engaging with each one.
And they feel special. We don't just want the birthday child to feel special. Of course we do, but we want everyone to feel like they matter.
How do you make sure that that happens?
Just that individual attention.
Because I think with birthdays, like the coolest part of birthdays when I was a kid is like pizza, cake, and that bag that they give you that's inevitably got some sugar and stuff your parents don't want you to have. But they're taking away a totally different experience from this. So the specialness from my experience versus what you're bringing, it's not just about that birthday kid, and it allows it to be like just a good event, because really it's like an event business more or less.
Yep.
You ever done a wedding? I've
not done a wedding.
Maybe it's stealing too much attention from the bride.
But I have done anniversaries where they've had me, like, it's Grandpa and Grandma's anniversary, and they're like, do you think Mary Poppins could come and like kind of play with the kids and do a little bit of program for them while the parents' anniversary or the grandparents' anniversary is going on? And then we did like a performance for them. I said, okay, we're going to do Let's Go Fly a Kite, or we're going to do Just Spoonful of Sugar. And then we would come out and perform something for the grandparents. But this is nothing new. Like, this is what I would do at a daycare or preschool or a party. Like, I just
who's
bring
there
it. Yep.
And
then we can kind of customize it. We made this dance just for Grandpa and Grandma, so.
And now you're bringing an experience to Grandma and Grandpa to an event like that. So has there ever been a point in your business where it's been growing faster than you were ready?
Yeah. I think in the very beginning when I was doing things all by myself. So there was a point where I was doing between 300 and 400 events by myself, and I was losing my voice. And this was when like Frozen was just coming out. So I was singing songs, hard songs, like all day long. And I was miserable. I had to go to a voice therapist to like learn how to talk like better, and not even like sing, but even like how to talk better, like more on the breath. And I started working with a business coach at that time too. And they're like, you need to hire people because you can't do it all. And that, of course, was like life-changing.
Were you like burnout phase at that point?
Yeah, I was. I think because I was just, when you are hoarse and tired and you can't talk and your business is about talking and singing and bringing magic, then it's just depressing and sad. And you don't want to do any of it because you don't feel like you're at 100%.
But I mean, at that point, you really have to put your business owner hat on.
I did.
Mm-hmm. Is that the point where you figured out like, hey, this is a business? I'm not just.
When I started coaching in 2018 with a business coach, and it was awesome. I mean, it made me think outside of it being like a hobby that I was going to do on the side of being an actor. It's like, no, I'm a business owner now that runs a company. I'm an actor. Yeah. Cause that's what I bring to it. But I'm really a business owner, which seems weird coming like, well, I was trained as an actor. Like, I feel like I have imposter syndrome. Like I'm a business owner. Like, am I really? I don't have a business degree, but coaching, I felt like gave me an MBA in my own business.
What prompted the coaching? Was it like, I need some type of relief or?
I think so. Yeah. I'm trying to think. It was just a referral. Like my friend from the Mad Hatter, Liz, she was coaching and she was just kind of going on about her experience with it and invited me to a meeting. And I loved it. It was kind of like, like a BNI meeting where you feel really inspired and educated. And then I just met with them one-on-one. And I had that like guttural feeling, even though I was like a little bit shell-shocked at the price. I was like, nope, I'm going to figure it out. This is what I'm going to do.
And what
inspired me to start it.
So how'd your business change after that? Like in the next.
Well, I got out of my business more than I was in my business, right? So hiring people for sure, really creating a mission statement, understanding my P&L, like what even a P&L was, and feeling what my break point was for breaking even and the money side of it, instead of like crossing my fingers, like really understanding what I need to hit every month. And it changes for me because, there's more expenses some months with costumes and wigs and arts and crafts supplies and stuff. But I kind of know what my numbers should be. So it just made me more of an expert in what I do.
And so it kind of got you to refocus on a lot of stuff. And when I started working with a coach, just sometimes the questions that you don't ask yourself that somebody that's just a little distance from your business asks are like, can't believe I never thought about that.
Right.
But that type of insight can really allow you to explode your business. And I think you can say you've kind of done that since 2018. Is it now just like rinse, repeat moving forward and more birthdays, more corporate events? Or like, is there like, when do you need a manager or something? Like, because now you're talking, you have employees, you've got a team of 10 now.
Yep.
And you have to manage those personalities and make sure that all the HR components and everything are happening. Have you thought at all about that next level in your business? Or am I putting you on the spot right here?
I mean, I think for me, it probably is becoming more of a manager and less of a performer in it. The hard part is that I still love performing. So even though I'm I love it so much that it's just hard to kind of give some of that up. So, there's things that I probably should do less of and like more focused on like other characters. But I kind of just try to do my return clients at this point and delegate the newer clients to my team, which feels good.
And do you have like an office then? Like, how's this business run on the back?
I run it out of my house.
So you just have like a wardrobe closet?
I do.
In your garage, isn't it?
No, I have a full room that has just been converted into a closet. So everything is in my closet. It's alphabetically organized by the name of the character.
A library of characters.
The library of characters. And then I have a special wig room. And then I have a barn door that blocks off part of my home to it. So that can be the part where the girls are and the boy to get ready for the event. So they come to my home and they get ready for the events, and then they'll come back and take their costumes off, and we wash and reset and do all that fun stuff.
So very low overhead for this business. This is an awesome model, and there's a recurring side to it because people with kids, there's 11 new leads at every birthday you go to.
Right.
We can talk converting about that off air, but I think we got to start wrapping up here. I don't know what it is about you and your business, but it's so fascinating to me. And I think there's a lot of businesses like the corporate type of stuff that they're just missing the boat by not like seeing what a character can do for their business. So I see that as a major opportunity, not only for you and your business, but anybody who owns a business listening to this, wink, wink, that wants to bring some joy to the children of their customers. Like it's a home run. So I'm going to start wrapping up. Anything you want to say quick before we get into this rapid fire round? It's the Sparkle edition.
I just want to plug our story times in the summer.
Okay.
So in July, we're going to be doing 6 different story times, and they're on Thursdays in Wayzata Park. And we'll do different princess each visit. And then we're also going to be in Forest Lake on a Wednesday. And we're going to be in, I believe, Northeast Minneapolis, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be another one. So we have 6. They're free to the public. They are awesome. Come early, bring a blanket.
It is a full experience and your kids will enjoy it. And it's planned around nap time too, like strategically timed.
10 o'clock.
We've done this before.
Yep.
All right. So let's hit the rapid fire round. You ready?
Yes.
So what's your go-to karaoke song after a long week of gigs?
Stand By Your Man.
Oh, that's amazing. If you could cast yourself as a Disney villain, who would you pick?
Ooh, my first instinct was Ursula.
Okay.
From The Little Mermaid. I'm a water sign. I like water.
Interesting. Most magical costume malfunction moment.
Ooh.
This is kind of edgy.
Okay. I'm going to tell you one that happened on stage for me, actually, because this one stands out at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. So this was during Greece back in like 2007. And I was playing Frenchie and I had a hula hoop and we had a hula hoop scene and I was hula hooping it around my neck and the hula hoop flipped off my head, rolled onto a table, knocked over a glass of water and hooped someone. So that was...
how do you play that off?
I mean, we just kind of, you kind of break the fourth wall. We're like, you just walk over like, can I have my hula hoop, please?
That's funny. What's the character you'd never get tired of playing, even if it's like the number 999?
Mary Poppins is my favorite. I love how
You're catching me off guard with your selections.
Really? Here. She is kind, but she rules with an iron fist, and I love that about her.
Okay. Biggest diva move you've seen from a toddler?
Oh my gosh.
The reaction says it.
I mean, I'm just going to say I've had toddlers that will like put my magic wand in their mouth and not like take it out. And some parents think it's cute. So that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a problem. We don't keep magic out of the mouth. Okay. So silliest request you've gotten at a party.
Let's see. I did Marilyn Monroe for a 90th birthday party for a retired ear, nose, and throat doctor. I mean, it was actually really fun, but kind of out of my realm. But I was like,
oldest birthday you've done?
90. Yeah, okay. 90 is the oldest birthday I've done.
We're not drawing the line there for the record. What's one thing that instantly brings you joy besides like puppies and glitter and stuff like that?
Ooh, I'm going to be simple and say like a walk in nature. I love walking outside.
Love that. Favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
Wheel of Fortune. I love the wheel.
Is 3 for 3 on catching me off guard. What's more, I was thinking like The Bachelor or something.
Nope.
Okay, what's more chaotic? A toddler birthday party or tech week at the theater?
A toddler birthday party, hands down.
What's something you wish more adults understood about pretending in play?
Oh, I wish they would just embrace it more. And like, you don't have to be perfect to do it. Like when you're reading your kid a story time, like use a funny voice. Like, it's okay if it's not perfect or if you feel funny, they will love it. Do it.
That's awesome. Last question we ask every guest that comes on. What's hustle mean to you in your business?
Ooh, it means just getting it done. Getting up, getting it done.
With some magic. I love that. Well, if there's anything else you want to leave for people to follow you or how to get in contact with you if they're interested in a corporate event or a birthday, talk to the camera, tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
Perfect. You can find us on Instagram at Princess Party Pals. You can find us on Facebook at Princess Party Pals, and you can find our website at princesspartypals.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining me. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, and I know you're probably just as, if not more excited for the Princess in the Park as I am this year. You probably get more princess experiences than I do, but it is a magical moment. So put it on your calendars if you don't already have it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate all the recommendations for guests, the questions, and all the support. It really goes a long way for us. Keep all that coming. Give it a like and share it with your friends, and give Nicole and her team a shot if you've got a corporate event coming up and you're looking to engage children or anybody up to the age of 90, it sounds like. So thanks again for joining us. Until next time, keep hustling.
Are you dealing with pest or wildlife issues on your property? Call us at 763-328-0156 or scan the QR code to learn more.
Thanks again for joining us on Homegrown Hustle. Our local business community thrives because of the brilliant leaders right here in our backyard. And it's been an absolute privilege to provide them with a platform to share their invaluable expertise. Stay tuned for more insight, wisdom, and inspiration from our local business champions. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Together, we'll continue to nurture and expand our homegrown success stories. Matt Eichmann signing off until our next insightful episode.